Good morning students. Today we are going to start learning English literature. So before going to the subject, I would like to tell you the question pattern. Your question paper is of 80 marks and the duration of the examination is 2 hours. Your question paper will have 3 sections. Section A, Section B and Section C. In Section A, you will be asked questions from drama. Drama is The Merchant of Venice. Our school has selected The Merchant of Venice. So for each question, an extract from the play would be given. Okay, an extract means a passage from the play would be given. And under the passage, underneath the passage, you will be asked 5 questions. And this is how they divide the marks for each and every question. Okay, 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So the first 4 questions carry 3 marks each and the last question is of 4 marks. So altogether, each question, that is question number 1, carries 16 marks on the whole. Do you understand? So for all these questions, they will give you an extract and a set of questions and the mark division is like this. But question number 7 is different. The extract would not be given. Right? They will ask only 3 questions. You have to write the answer in paragraph and the mark division is this. 4 plus 4 plus 8. So the last question answer should be somewhat lengthier. And the other 2 are moderate answers, but you have to focus on the question and give adequate details. You are not supposed to leave out anything. We will come to that later. Right? Now, how to select the questions or how many questions you have to attempt? You have to attempt only 5 questions. There will be 9 questions in your question papers, but you have to answer only 5 questions. And how will you select the questions? See, when you select the questions, you have to select at least 1 question from each section. Is it clear, students? You have to select at least 1 question from each section. And you will be having remaining 2 questions which you can select from any of the sections. Is it clear? Say for example, Section A questions will be from drama, The Merchant of Venice. Section B will be from poetry. Section C from short stories. We have short stories. Okay? See, in Section A, I know the answer for question number 1 thoroughly. So, I will select question 1. In Section B, if I am thorough with question 5, I will select question 5. Then in Section C, I am thorough with the answers of question 8. So I will select question 8. So how many questions I have selected? I have selected 3 questions from each section. And what should I do for the remaining 2 questions? I have to go through the questions and I can select from anywhere. Say for example, I can select question 3 or I can select question 7. So how many questions I have selected? I have selected 5 questions. But I have selected at least 1 question, a minimum of 1 question from each section. Is it clear? But what will happen if you completely leave a section untouched? What will happen? Say for example, I select all the 3 questions from section C and I select the remaining questions from section B. I haven't even touched section A. What will happen? I will not be given marks for the last answer. Is it clear, students? I will not be given marks for the last answer if I leave any of the sections untouched. So it is mandatory for you to select at least 1 question from each section and the remaining 2 questions can be selected from any of the sections of your wish. Right? So when you write or when you appear for the examination, there should not be any confusion regarding attempting the questions. Okay, students? Right. 11. We are going to learn the poem The Cold Within by James Patrick Kinney. The Cold Within by James Patrick Kinney. All of you turn to page number 10. Today we will be learning or reading about the author, and in the next class I will start the poem. James Patrick Kinney is an American poet who wrote this poem in the 1960s. So he is an American poet. James Patrick Kinney is an American poet, and he wrote this poem in 1960s. Although it was first rejected as being too controversial, it gained popularity rapidly after it had been read out at a council meeting of all religions. So first, this poem, that is The Cold Within, was rejected by the people. They said, they gave the reason that the poem was too controversial. The poem was different from their opinion, right? Or we can say that the theme of the poem was something that they were not able to accept, right? But this poem gained popularity when it was read out at a council meeting of all religions. The poem describes the tragic death of a group of 6 who stand around a fire, each holding on grimly to a log of wood, allowing their selfishness, prejudice, malice and suspicions to dictate their actions. They refuse to share the log to fuel the dying fire and keep each other warm. So have you understood the gist of the story? See, the story describes, not the story, the poem. The poem describes the tragic death of a group of 6 people who stand around a fire holding a stick, a log of wood in their hands. They were not willing to give or to put the piece of wood in the fire so that it will keep on burning. Why didn't they do that? Because they were selfish, they were prejudiced, they were filled with malice and suspicion. Okay, that is the meaning of this sentence. Allowing their selfishness, prejudice. So what is the meaning of the word prejudice? Prejudice is an irrational, hostile attitude or hatred, an enmity, okay, a hatred towards a particular group, race, religion, etc. It's a kind of hostility. Okay, so these 6 people were hating each other for some reason. We'll be seeing the reason in the poem later. And they were filled with malice. What is the meaning of malice? They had the wish to harm one another. Okay, and suspicion. Suspicion is the act of suspecting something wrong. Okay, what is the meaning of suspicion? Suspicion is the act of suspecting something wrong. So, because they were filled of all these things, that is selfishness, malice, prejudice and suspicion, they were not willing to give the log. So, they were holding the log using their hands. So tightly they were holding it. They refused to share the log to fuel the dying fire. On the other hand, the fire was dying. If the fire was gone, then they had to die because the climate was so cold. But they were so selfish, they were filled with hatred and malice, so they didn't want to give or put the piece of wood in the fire. Eventually, what happens? The fire dies out, and in the morning, all 6 of them are found frozen to death. So they refuse to give the log and the fire dies. So what happens? In the morning they are found frozen to death, each clutching